Welcome in, y'all, to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you after a tough loss to the Giants in the opening game of this weekend series. We got to talk about it, but first, I know that a lot of y'all are repeat listeners or viewers, and you kind of know what we do here at Right on Rangers. But for everyone else, Right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, but we put a big emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Thanks for joining us today, whether you're watching live or on the replay. Let's go ahead and just get right into it now. So, first of all, Corey Seager not in the lineup today. I think everybody, I don't know, maybe I can't speak for all Rangers fans, but I know for myself, expectations were a little bit tempered coming into this one. First of all, let's look at the positive. It sounds like Corey Seager is going to be back for the Dodgers series next week, which starts on Tuesday. So before the game, they interviewed Bochy. Boch basically said, I think Siegs is going to be good to go by the time we get on the road, which is going to be probably Monday, Tuesday. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are those games where the Rangers will be in LA. That should be a fun matchup, a fun interleague matchup for the Rangers, but not exactly the team you want to be playing right now when you're not at full health and not hitting your full stride. We're talking about the Dodgers, of course, next week. Dodgers won tonight in the Bronx. Pretty impressive win. We'll see how they do this series in New York, but the Dodgers are a great team. They're going to be tough to play next week, especially, like I said, with the Rangers not really hitting their full stride and not at full health. So I'm a little bit worried about that series. But before we start worrying too much about the Dodgers, let's lock in on the Giants right now. So this game started off with a couple of Wilmer Flores bombs. And we actually talked about on the live last night, we talked about how Wilmer Flores had a lot of success in his career off Mike Lorenzen. In fact, I want to say he had 2 career home runs off Lorenzen coming into this game, and the average was quite high. So I feel like Lorenzen had to have known that. I mean, I feel like the whole pitching, coaching staff had to have known that. Circle that guy in the lineup. Flores has hit 2 bombs off Lorenzen. They studied those at-bats. What went wrong? How did they pitch him in those at-bats where he hit the home runs in the past? So to see Lorenzen give up 2 more home runs to Wilmer Flores, a guy that is not hitting a whole lot of home runs this year. I mean, that is kind of the trend when other teams play the Rangers. The guy with the least home runs ends up hitting a couple of them, right? We had Rogers, the catcher for the Tigers, in that series. We had Langoliers hitting a couple of bombs. I feel like somebody else in there, just these no-name guys, end up hitting bombs. I know a lot of us know Wilmer Flores. He's been around the league for a long time, but you understand the point. Wilmer Flores does not have a lot of offensive prowess. Never really has, but especially at this point in his career. But he can drive the ball out, and he loves doing it against Mike Lorenzen. So I got to say, a little disappointed the Rangers let Mike Lorenzen get beat by Flores in that regard. I feel like, obviously, you get out there, you can make mistakes on the mound, and maybe that's all it was. Maybe it's just, hey, Lorenzen made some mistake pitches tonight against Flores, and it is what it is. But as I said, I got to feel like going into the game, they had to have planned especially hard for those Flores at-bats, and it just didn't work out today. So real unfortunate that the guy that's burned Lorenzen in the past ends up doing it twice tonight. But to the Rangers' credit, I got to say, I was starting to get a little bit down. I was starting to do a little bit of doubting at the end of that game, in the middle of the game, and the Rangers just went ahead and tied it up. And it was the bottom of the order that did it as well. I think that was what was even more impressive, is that the bottom of the order is who comes through to tie the game. You had Grossman coming through with an RBI. You had Duran coming through with an RBI single with the infield drawn in. So for me, really impressed with that bottom of the order. Duran, of course, went 2 for 3 tonight. I did like seeing Grossman at the bottom of the order versus in the 3 spot. I know that normally he's only in the 3 spot against lefties. Logan Webb, really tough pitcher going for the Giants tonight. I got to say, with the Giants, With the Giants throwing Logan Webb, tying the game up late, you really felt this was a great opportunity to steal a win because Logan Webb is the best the Giants have. So I thought to myself when they tied it up, Webb was still pretty low on his pitch count, but it just felt like this was a great game and such a big opportunity for the Rangers to steal. And it just was not meant to be. Michael Conforto, who is having a decent season, he goes deep. I think it was his 8th home run from what I remember from the broadcast. And he makes it a 4-2 game in the 7th. David Robertson out there. This is the problem. We've talked about this. This is the problem. The 7th inning, the Rangers have the worst run differential in the major leagues in the 7th inning. It's a problem. It's not just a fluke. It's not just a thing, that's like, oh, wow. It's a thing that actually needs to be addressed very seriously this 7th inning. And tonight, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't go Leclerc. Not saying that I like Leclerc over Robertson, but I was a little bit surprised that the plan for tonight was probably to make Robertson or Yates go 2 innings. I mean, with a tie game, I thought for sure they were going Leclerc in the 7th. So don't know if the question got asked to Bruce Bochy, but I would be very curious to hear the rationale. Why not Leclerc in the 7th? I know that he had given up the home run the other night in the close game with the Tigers, right? That was a few nights ago on Tuesday or something like that. But nevertheless, Leclerc was going multiple innings in that game. I don't think that home run against the Tigers that he gave up late is a reason why you don't put him in there tonight. I kind of feel like the Rangers have got to get into a groove with allowing Robertson and Yates for the most part, right? Playoffs aside, big games at the end of the season aside, I think they've got to get out of the habit of going multiple innings with Robertson and Yates. Those are guys that are towards the end of their careers. They're on the back 9. Do you really want to be burning Robertson and Yates multiple innings in games like this? I don't know. And again, don't know what the plan was. I didn't watch any post game. So if y'all heard something post game from Boch, let me know in the comments. But would be real curious to understand, why Robertson in the 7th there. I know that they were facing kind of the heart of the order. So that might be the rationale. You want Robertson up against the heart of the order. They had Bailey, Chapman, Conforto. But I don't know if Bochy was thinking about going Robertson again for the 8th, or if he was actually going to pitch somebody else. And, hey, Robertson's out there because it's the heart of the order, and we want him out there for the best hitters in the 7th inning. I could see that. I just think they have got to get out of the habit of trying to go with Robertson multiple innings, Yates multiple innings. It's a long season. The 7th inning is where we have got to improve. We're a league worst. I don't know what the number is now. A week ago, the run differential for the Rangers in the 7th inning was minus 39. That's terrible. And that's worse than the major leagues. And I can imagine after giving up 2 runs tonight, getting beat 2-0 in the 7th inning, we're probably still at the bottom. So we all know that at the trade deadline, I feel like we can't make these decisions for the Rangers by any means. So let's keep it in perspective. But we're fans and we talk about this kind of thing, and that's fine. There's so many people online. You try and talk about trades, sending guys up, sending guys down, benching guys, moving the lineup around, and you get the standard, let the coaches coach and let the front office handle that. They know what they're doing. You don't. I get that kind of stuff all the time online. It's such an annoying response because we're fans. That's what makes it fun, right? You play video games, you play MLB The Show, you play fantasy baseball. What makes those things fun? Because you're in control. You're the manager. You get to make the roster decisions. That's what makes it fun. So I don't understand the fans that refuse to question or to make any suggestions about things that the team should do. That's what makes being a fan a fan. So for me, they got to acquire a right-handed pitcher or a lefty power arm at the deadline, somebody that can pitch the 7th inning. If it's not going to be Leclerc and you're not going to faithfully use Leclerc in the 7th, they have got to make some kind of move to go get an arm that can bridge it to the 8th and the 9th. And you know what? Maybe you go get a guy that can alternate with Robertson, 7th, 8th inning high leverage moments. That would be great too. It's not like you've got to lock Robertson down to the 8th. I like Robertson in high leverage. So in the 7th inning, it was the heart of the order coming up. I don't mind Robertson being there, but you need a third guy. That's my point. If you're going to use Robertson in the 7th, you need an 8th inning guy to get it to Yates in the 9th. So the Rangers, for me, they need to go out and they need to get an arm that can bridge it to the 8th and the 9th, or just a third guy in general that can help back up what Yates and Robertson are already doing. It's hard tonight to get too down on the team. We threw our best and it didn't work out. Y'all have heard me after multiple losses this year. When Robertson blew it against the Twins, he gave up the 3-run bomb to Kirilloff, a couple of weeks ago. I said the same thing. We threw our best and it wasn't good enough. And in that case, that pitch to Kirilloff, that was literally like a pitch a foot below the strike zone, and the dude golfs it out for a home run. What are you going to do? So we threw our best tonight. It didn't work out. I will say the pitch to Conforto was pretty much center cut on a full count pitch. Can't say that I love that. Don't know if that's what they were going for. I can't imagine they were trying to center cut a pitch on 3-2 to Conforto there in the 7th inning. But with that being said, I still say it was our best and it didn't work. So what are you going to do? You're not going to question Bochy. We had Robertson out there in probably the most high leverage situation. Who else do you want? You're not bringing in Yates in the 7th. There's nobody better than Robertson there to face the heart of the order. So for me, we just need another guy that can come in, potentially clean up the 8th inning if Robertson needs to go high leverage in the 7th. But tonight, we threw our best. It didn't work out. Everybody should have expected the Bats to not be putting up 7 runs. I don't think any Rangers fan that's been watching this team the entire season thought to themselves, we're going to have a huge offensive outpouring today. Now, look, I thought maybe they could get into that 5-6 run range. Maybe. I was being super optimistic in my video that I put out this afternoon. I really thought maybe they would be able to put up some runs against Webb. He has had a great season up to this point, but I thought maybe they would ride some momentum off of the 9 runs they scored last night. But look, as it's happened, I'm not shocked that the Rangers only put up 2 runs tonight. Not shocked in the least bit. So I think that once they get Siegs back, we can start raising the expectations again. But this weekend, just don't be surprised if the Bats struggle. Be very happy if we put up 9 runs in a game against the Giants this weekend. I'm not expecting it, but I'm going to be very happy if it comes to fruition. So right now, real quick, before I get into other stuff, because I could go on and on, as you guys know, appreciate all y'all. I see a lot of people from YouTube joining in. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Jeremy, what's up? Aaron, what's up? Natalie, what's up? Yep, Rangers lose this one 5-2. Tough loss. But thank y'all for joining. I appreciate the support as always. What's a mistake that you made others can learn from? Man, we're getting deep here. We're getting deep here on Right on Rangers Live. Asking for advice. I'm not going to get too specific, but I will say ask for advice. You got people that you trust. You've got those wise people in your life. Don't always try and think that you can solve everything on your own. I've done that a lot in my life. That's something absolutely that I have learned from, a mistake I've learned from. Now, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the box score. So we've got not a whole lot notable here. Simi goes 1 for 4. Was really hoping that he was going to continue the success he had last year off Logan Webb. Believe he had 2 base knocks and 4 at-bats against Webb last year. Smith from the 2 spot was really interested to see what the Rangers were going to do with Siegs out. I first of all did not think he was going to play at all today. 0% chance that Siegs was going to play in my mind. If he would have been in the lineup today, I would have been shocked. But we said on the live on Wednesday night, probably Smith takes the 2 spot, takes shortstop. And then I actually did say Jonah Heim 3 spot. I figured they would move Heim up into that position, especially with a right-handed pitcher. Lefty starter, Heim usually bats a little bit lower in the lineup, but I liked the lineup tonight. You had Garcia fourth, Lowe fifth, Langford, Grossman, Duran, Tavares. I think this was as good of a lineup as you could have put out tonight, considering the circumstances. I think this was as good as it was going to get. So if they face more righties this weekend, which we'll preview all the pitching matchups for Saturday and Sunday, but if they face another righty starter, I'm sure that they're just going to go right back to this. Jonah Heim had a big night on Wednesday night, almost hit for the cycle, triple shy, along with Josh Smith. Same thing, triple shy of the cycle. Was really hopeful Heim was going to continue his hot hitting. He has been in a little bit of a cold slump, minus the game on Wednesday. And we go to his last 7 games, 231, last 15 games, averages up to 189. It was like 151 a few games ago. So Jonah Heim struggling right now, was hoping that game Wednesday was going to really kickstart a positive streak for him, but it wasn't meant to be, at least tonight. Still a whole weekend for Heim to figure it out, hopefully get fully back on track. Rangers could really, really use Jonah Heim's bat. 95 RBI last year. Looks like Jonah Heim this year is at loading, 31 RBI. So probably a little bit off of his pace for last year or from last year. Jonah Heim going into the season did not need to be a 95 RBI guy in this lineup. But that being said, with Josh Young's injury and with the offense as a whole really scuffling, I think it would be nice if Jonah Heim could catch a little bit of a hot streak here. And same thing for Dolly. Dolly tonight goes 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, averages down to 219. Let's look at the stats on Dolly, do a little bit of a deep dive here. It's uglier than Heim. I have purposefully not looked at Dolly's stats for his last 15 games, because I knew it was going to be just as ugly as what I'm seeing right now. So Dolly, for his last 15 games, hitting 121, 58 at bats, 7 hits, Dolly hitting 121 in his last 15 games. That's ugly. For your 4-hole hitter, that is ugly. Last 7 games, Dolly's hitting 103. He's 3 for 29, does have a home run. It's ugly, guys. Dolly right now is a big reason why the bats are struggling, are scuffling. Big reason why we're not getting runs scored is because our cleanup hitter is in a terrible slump. And if we look even more at the numbers and strikeouts and all that stuff, 39 strikeouts in those last 30 games, 19 strikeouts in your last 15 games. So Dolly averaging well over a strikeout a game. It's not ideal from your cleanup hitter. They've got to have better from Adolis Garcia. Look, we all knew this. It just is even more painful looking at the stats and seeing, wow, hitting a little over 100 in your last 7 games, hitting 120 in your last 15 games. It all starts making sense. The Rangers' best hitters, minus Seager, minus Simi, because he's been on a little bit of a hot streak of late, I would say. But some of the Rangers' best hitters from last year are not hitting this year. Right? Dolly was such a huge reason why we won the World Series in October and November, why we were so successful in the postseason. Right? 15 RBI. Dolly set a record for most RBI in a postseason ever. So you know that the Rangers' success is predicated on Dolly and I think on Siegs and Simi all hitting well. And when they don't hit well, it's not going to go well for the Rangers. I know that's such an oversimplification, but it's the truth. When your top players don't hit well, you're not going to win a lot of ball games. Let me go to some comments here. So let me go to YouTube here for a comment. I'm putting it up on the screen, but I'll read it out loud for everybody that might not be able to see it or that's listening after the fact, doesn't have it on the video. So this comment from YouTube is thoughts on the GOAT, Josh Smith. Man, I would agree. Josh Smith is absolutely goated this season. Josh Smith is a big reason. Let me not make him the only reason, but Josh Smith is a big reason why the Rangers are like within striking distance of 500 right now. Right, the Rangers dropped to 30 and 33, 3 games below 500. Look, if they can just hover here, that's great. They're going to get fully healthy at the end of June, beginning of July. If they can just hover around 500, that would be great. But going back to the comment, Smith goes 0 for 4 tonight. You know what I love about Smith, though, is even when you see 0 for, most times, I don't want to say every time, but most times, you see Josh Smith putting the ball in play nearly every time. So Josh Smith, no strikeouts tonight. I think Josh Smith plays a good shortstop. And let me go ahead and piggyback off that. I know that y'all saw Zeke Duran with that absolute rocket arm, like in back-to-back innings. Or was it in the same inning? That dude has a cannon. And I knew that he had a good arm at third base. As we've seen Zeke play third base many times. But Zeke is having a great season. I absolutely was down on Zeke in May, early May. He was really struggling. It wasn't looking pretty, was making a lot of errors. They were having him play outfield, kind of moving him all over the place. But Zeke's hitting 280, was 2 for 3 tonight with an RBI in a big spot to tie the game. And man, does he play a good third base. So back to Josh Smith, 0 for 4 tonight. But I feel very, very good when Josh Smith is up to bat. I feel like I'm going to get a quality at bat, and he's going to put the ball in play most times. So if we look at Josh Smith and do his numbers, we've been kind of doing like last 7 games, last 15 games. Josh Smith, last 7 games, 310 average. That's outstanding. 2 homers. And we've said this before, and I know this is going to come off like a knock or kind of being a little bit disrespectful to this next Rangers player that I'm going to name. I love this next Rangers player that I'm about to talk about, but I have made the point. It's kind of ridiculous that Josh Smith is outslugging Nate Lowe right now. Your first baseman is supposed to be your power hitter, at least one of them. And Josh Smith right now, more homers than Nate Lowe. I think Nate Lowe's got 2 homers on the year. Josh Smith has 4. In his last 7 games, Josh Smith, 2 bombs, 3 RBI. He has 1 walk, 9 hits in his last 7 games, 310 average. Last 15 games, sitting 286. There's not a lot of negative things we can really say about Josh Smith right now. So I really think let me go to this next comment too. So when Josh Young comes back, you've got to keep Josh Smith in the lineup one way or another. I think it has to happen. I don't know where they're going to fit him. If I had to guess, I think he's probably going to be more bottom of the order type guy. Look, hit Josh Smith 5th for all I care. Hit him 5th. It's not any worse than what we're getting from anybody else in the lineup. So look, I'm talking about a lefty starter. You're going to have Young in the 3 spot, right? I think even when Young comes back, you might still see Josh Smith 3 spot against righties. I don't know why not. Because typically when Josh Young is healthy, Josh Young hits 5th against righties. Josh Young, better hitter against lefties, still can hit righties. But I wouldn't be surprised if when Josh Young comes back, if Josh Smith still hits 3-hole against righties. I think they'll flip-flop when it's a lefty. Josh Smith maybe goes to 5. And then you've got Josh Young in the 3 spot against the lefty starter. That's what I would do. And I think at this point, you just make Josh Smith ultimate utility guy. I'd be having him take fly balls right now. Because Wyatt Langford, as much as we love the young buck, the young kid, he goes 1 for 3 with the run scored and had kind of an electric play today. Average is 227 on the year. I think Josh Smith might steal a little time from Langford here and there, potentially. They really haven't said what the long-term plan for Langford is. If they're just going to let him play out the entire season and just give him all the at-bats, who knows? So I could see Josh Smith getting some outfield reps. I could see him being the DH. Obviously, he's not stealing any time from Semien or Seager when those guys are both healthy. I don't think he's taking Josh Young's time at third base. So the only other options really are outfield and DH for Josh Smith. And I think the Rangers got to find a way. They got to find a way. So right now, let me go ahead and wrap up things with the box score. And then I'll come back to comments and I'll circle through. But I want to talk about Jonathan Hernandez. Enough with the offense. It stunk tonight. There were a few bright spots, but the offense by and large was not very good tonight. Duran had a nice night. Langford had a nice hit. Nate Lowe had a hit and a run scored, and Semien had a hit. Beyond that, not a whole lot to write home about. But let's talk about Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan Hernandez, I thought, had an outstanding game tonight, and Jonathan Hernandez's full potential was on full display tonight. Bases loaded is the worst situation to come into as a reliever, and to see Jonathan Hernandez strike out back-to-back hitters with the bases loaded to keep the game at that point, right? To keep the game tied, I believe it was. That was such a huge moment for him. Such a huge moment. And we've said all along that Jonathan Hernandez has filthy stuff. I mean, this guy belongs in the major leagues with the stuff alone, but he's not consistent enough. He does walk guys sometimes, but Jonathan Hernandez, if he can pitch like this, he could easily be the seventh inning guy that we were talking about earlier. But the problem with Hernandez is he really is not consistent and he walks too many guys. Tonight, he did have one walk, I believe, worked around it a little bit, but 3 strikeouts in an inning and 2/3. Jonathan Hernandez has filthy stuff. I got to give him his flowers tonight. That could be a guy, if he could just be consistent, that could help us out in big moments down the stretch. I really do feel that way. Beyond that, Robertson, we talked about him. Off night for him. ERA up to 3.41 on the year. Grant Anderson comes in, gives up a couple of hits, walks a guy, lead extended. Tinoco came in, and I thought threw a very solid 8th inning. Garabito came in, threw a very solid 9th inning. I think that there's talks that Garabito may be potentially getting, actually, there was talk before the game that Garabito might get DFA'd, but they DFA'd Derek Hill instead. I don't know if y'all saw that. Derek Hill DFA'd today. I'm assuming to make room for some guys coming back healthy, right? We're going to have John Gray coming back healthy here pretty quick. There's a few other guys that are coming back at the end of the month. So we had Wenzel recalled, Derek Hill DFA'd, and I think John Gray is on his way back very, very soon. So the Rangers have reinforcements coming. You've got Cody Bradford supposedly coming back at the end of the month, Scherzer coming back at the end of the month, Josh Young coming back at the end of the month. You've also got DeGrom coming back after the All-Star break. And look, even though most of those guys I named are just pitchers, and we know the problem hasn't been pitching, it's been hitting. I think the boost, the morale, the culture gets better when those guys come back healthy. Yes, a lot of those guys are in the clubhouse right now, but having those guys healthy and just out there playing, I think it provides a boost for everybody, for the entire team, for the organization. And I think you are going to see the positive vibes reflect in the team's performance, even though who I just named, mostly pitchers, and we know that the offense has been the real problem this year for the Texas Rangers. It just has. Once again, Rangers under 4.5. That bet cashes quite comfortably today. I could be making a lot more money betting Rangers under 4.5 this season instead of betting 1 cent on Rangers money line for every follower that I have. But nevertheless, we're going to stay the course on our system, on our challenge this year. Again, betting 1 cent on Texas Rangers money line for every follower. We're staying with it. We've had our doubts. We've had our moments of reflection. What have we gotten ourselves into? But I do feel confident and do believe that the Rangers are going to bounce back and have a good second half when everybody returns healthy. I mean, I really don't see how it can't happen. The Rangers have been pretty bad in the first half of the year, and they're really only a few games under 500. We're going to look at the standings in a little bit. It's not as bad as you might think. And I feel like for where the Rangers have been offensively, to not be like double-digit games back at this point, either in the wild card or in the division race, is very, very fortunate. So as guys come back healthy, I think that the Rangers are going to play better. That truly is how I feel, not just saying that, not just throwing something out positive in the air just because. I really do think that's going to happen. So, as I said, I think Wednesday night, maybe Tuesday night, if you want to bet the Rangers to win it all this year, there's no better time than right now. because everybody's down on the Rangers at this point. I think they're 30 to 35 to 1 odds at this moment in time. They were about 12 to 1 to start the season. So if you want, or if you think that the Rangers might turn it around and make another postseason run, I know it doesn't seem like it's going to happen right now, but I think that the Rangers are going to have a good second half and end the year on a really good note. And as we know, it doesn't matter what your record was in the regular season. What matters is getting in and getting hot at the right time. And that's exactly what the Rangers did last October and November on their way to a World Series win. Now, let me go to comments here. Check out a few things. Why are the Rangers so bad this year? This is a YouTube comment. Kind of just talked about it. The offense sucks and isn't scoring enough runs. We've got a few bright spots. Corey Seager, Josh Smith. We've talked about those guys, but the offense pretty much sucks right now. I mean, I don't want to mince words. They have their moments, but bright spot, Josh Smith, Corey Seager, Duran. There's a couple other guys maybe you could make an argument for, but that's why the Rangers have not been good this year. Pitching's been outstanding. Let me get to another couple of comments. Garcia hitting more homers. Garcia just hitting in general. So, Max, absolutely. I would love to see more home runs from Garcia. Garcia is hitting 120 in his last 15 games. 7 hits in his last 50, almost 60 at bats. I'll just take singles right now from Dolly. Seriously. Let me get another comment here. Natalie, what's up? Look at most rookies, their first 200 plate appearances. It isn't always pretty, but they start getting better. I think that absolutely is true. And I think that 200 mark might be a good benchmark for us. Let's see where Wyatt Langford's at after 200 ABs. And just for the record, let's see how many at-bats he has in the major leagues. So he's at the 150 mark right now. So Wyatt Langford has 150 major league at-bats right now. He's hitting 227. He has 34 hits and 150 at-bats. 50 more hits is probably going to be somewhere in the range of 12 to 16 games, I would think, somewhere around there. So that would put us probably 2 weeks out. So Natalie, in 2 weeks, let's see where Wyatt Langford's at. He'll be right around 200 at bats in about 2 weeks. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Beyond that, guys, let's take a look at the matchup for tomorrow, shall we? Let's start flushing this one out, as I like to say, and let's evaluate what's happening tomorrow. The pitching preview. We'll look at the career numbers that all the Rangers have off of the Giants starter for tomorrow. So, by the way, no Giants starter announced. That's unfortunate. Kind of puts a little bit of a bump in our show, but nonetheless, we'll be all right. Hopefully, it's a righty. I'd like to see a right-handed lineup. It just feels better. Although we hit lefties a little bit better in the Marlins series, but hopefully we get a right-handed starter, statistically much better against righties than lefties. But Heen Dog's on the bump tomorrow. Andrew Heaney sporting that 3.99 ERA, 2-6 record. We all know that 2-6 record, not really indicative of how Andrew Heaney has been playing the entire season. But the Giants against Heaney in their careers, we've got one guy that has hit, actually a few guys have hit homers off Heaney. Wilmer Flores in 13 at-bats has a homer and is hitting 462 off Heaney. Is there any way, please, that we could not let Wilmer Flores beat us tomorrow? So Wilmer Flores hitting 462 with a home run off Andrew Heaney in his career. Could we please not let that guy beat us again tomorrow? So circle that guy in the lineup. Don't let him beat you with the home run ball, please. And beyond that, we got Matt Chapman hitting, I believe, 3 for 15 with the home run. So 215 at bats. And Estrada, the second baseman, 2 for 5 with the homer. Soler is 1 for 13. Slater, the right fielder, is 0 for 9. Ramos, 0 for 1. And we've got Bailey, the catcher, is 1 for 1. So look, There's a few guys, Chapman, Flores, and Soler, that have double-digit at-bats off Heaney. Chapman, he has a homer, but 200 average. Flores is the guy you got to circle. Flores is hitting 462 and 13 career at-bats against Andrew Heaney with a home run. Please, do not let Wilmer Flores be the guy that beats us tomorrow. Figure it out, Rangers. Let's go. Let's put together a good quality at-bat against Flores. The pitch selection, let's study it, and let's not let that dude beat us again. Please. Oh, my goodness. All right. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the AL West and see what happened in the box scores around our division. I did see that the Royals completed an incredible comeback against the Mariners. I don't know if y'all heard about this or if y'all saw this, but the Mariners in tonight's game in Kansas City against the Royals, the Mariners went up 8-0. In the top of the fourth inning, it was 8-0 Mariners against the Royals. And the Royals are a good team, 38-26 on the year. And the Royals go on to score 10 runs. I don't think it was all unanswered, but the Royals put up 4 in the bottom of the fourth, 3 in the bottom of the sixth, and 3 in the bottom of the ninth to beat the Mariners 10-9. So when I saw that, I started feeling a little bit better. I mean, that is an incredible comeback for the ages. Mariners up 8-0 on the Royals in Kansas City, and they go on to lose tonight 10-9. So fortunately, the Rangers do not lose any ground in the AL West. Zach, what's up, buddy? We lost tonight 5-2. Unfortunate, but as we were just saying, at least the Mariners, who are in first place right now, took the L as well in a much worse way than the Rangers did. Mariners lose 10-9 in Kansas City after being up 8-0. Yeah, I'll take the way the Rangers lost tonight over how the Mariners lost tonight. Astros do beat the Angels 7-1 in Anaheim. So the Astros creep a game closer to the second place Rangers. And the A's also won late on a home run, I believe, in the bottom of the ninth inning. So Mason Miller gets the win there. And the A's are just a little bit in front of the Angels, I believe, still in third place. Let's look at the standings right now before we close things up. So we've got in the AL West, Mariners in first by 5 games. Houston Astros 6.5 back, so a game and a half back behind the Rangers in third. A's are in fourth place, so excuse me, I said third just a little bit ago. A's are 10 games out of first, and the Angels are 11 games out of first. And that's how it goes. So right now, we will look to tomorrow's game, and tomorrow's game, I believe, is a 2 o'clock start. I'll have to double check on that, but I believe 2 o'clock start for tomorrow, Texas time. Double checking that right now for y'all. So we'll put out a video sometime in the late morning, maybe right around noontime, and we will go ahead and go live pretty much, I don't know, maybe right after the game, maybe an hour, hour and a half after. So it is a 2:05 Texas, 3:05 Texas time start. It'll be a 1:05 start here in Vegas for me. Sorry about that. We worked our way through it. Oh, free game of the day tomorrow, I'm seeing. So maybe I won't be blacked out tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow's game, Giants and Rangers, is the MLB TV free game of the day. So hopefully here in Vegas, I won't get blacked out from it. I think you've heard me go on and on about the blackouts in Major League Baseball. So in Vegas here, where I live, we're blacked out from any games on MLB TV that are played in the Bay Area. So A's, Giants. We're blacked out of both LA teams here in Vegas, San Diego, Arizona, and I think there's one other team that I'm missing. But it's pretty ridiculous. There's like 6 teams that if the Rangers are playing, I'm blacked out automatically. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully tomorrow, MLB TV free game of the day is the Rangers. So hopefully I won't have to do some second rate, You know what I mean? Just trying to find a stream somewhere online that's like buffering every other minute. That's the goal. Hopefully tomorrow, MLB free game of the day will come through for me. Uh, Beyond that, let's talk Mavs. Last night, Mavs lose, kind of a blowout. It was good to see the reminders that the first game that the Mavs played against the Thunder and against the Clippers in those series were kind of ugly. So I have hope and I have faith that even though the Mavs dropped game one, kind of an embarrassing fashion, they'll come back game two on Sunday ready to go. I was real hopeful that the Mavs would steal that game one. Still an opportunity, though, to take home court in game two. We'll be watching Sunday night. And looks like on Sunday, the Rangers game is at 12 o'clock Texas time, 10 o'clock my time here in Vegas. So that'll be good. Can watch the Rangers earlier in the day and then game two of the NBA Finals later on. Evo is going on Sunday, by the way. Giants have yet to announce their starter for Saturday or for Sunday. All right, y'all, let me check comments before I go. Thank you so much for being a part of our live stream tonight. Let's go ahead and go to one more comment here. I wouldn't hate to see Smith give Langford some breather days, especially because Langford has never played 162 games before. Yeah, I agree. I think Smith is probably going to do a lot of DHing, and then he'll occasionally spell one of the outfielders, maybe Doley. I think they need to start getting Josh Smith some outfield reps. You're not going to have him play a lot of shortstop or second base. We know Simi doesn't take days off. Seager might need a few days off here and there. Maybe he DHs and Josh Smith plays shortstop, but I think Josh Smith is just going to become super utility guy. Can we get him playing first base? I mean, if Nate Lowe continues not to hit, I mean, look, I don't love having a short first baseman. I want my first baseman to be 6'4" if at all possible or taller. But look, that might be the play. Just get him on the field, get him in the lineup somehow. I think that would be a huge mistake for the Rangers to take away at bats from Josh Smith with how well he has played this year. Look, he doesn't have the notoriety to be an all-star, and I don't know if the stats are there, but Josh Smith single-handedly, not maybe double-handedly with a couple other guys on the team, you know what I mean? The reason why the Rangers are not like 10 games under 500. I really do believe that. That and the pitching staff just pitching lights out for the large majority of the season. Well, all right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. By the way, our system, betting 1 cent on Texas Rangers money line for every follower. We're opening it up now to all social media platforms. Feeling a little bit on the edge, anxious about this, but I do feel like the Rangers are going to have a strong second half of the season. So let's have some fun. Now, extending that out to all social media platforms, that challenge that we've been doing all year long. So let's keep having some fun with it. And as I always say, please, if you know a Rangers fan, you know somebody that loves baseball, share this video with them. That would mean a lot to me. And as I always say, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope y'all have a great rest of the Friday night. Hopefully we'll see you on Saturday tomorrow after the Rangers game. Hopefully after a Rangers win. If not, maybe on the replay or for some other live later on in the weekend or early next week. We'll see y'all. Have a good night.